So here's how to actually trace our character in Desmos. So I'm going to start by doing his mouth there, his little smile. So I'm typing in the parent function of a quadratic because that's the shape that I think resembles it best. And then these little sliders pop up so that I can really adjust them to be perfectly matching the mouth. So I'm just going to play around with these for a second. So now my K slider doesn't go higher than 10, and I need it to go up probably between like 15 and 20. So what I can do is click on the slider and put 15 and 20 as the boundaries for the slider, and then it'll make the slider a little bit easier to work with. I'm gonna keep messing with my other pieces and just zooming in using my mouse, but you can use the plus or the minus on the right there. So once your sliders are good, you need to actually replace the letters in the original equation with those new sliders, and make sure you simplify it. So instead of minus negative, I put a plus. So I've replaced those, and now I can delete the sliders. This is super important because if you don't delete them, you're gonna have 1,000 different sliders as you start to add a bunch of equations. So now I'm going to click and hold and see where I want my parabola to start. So we use these squiggle brackets, and I'm putting the x value that it starts at and the x value that it ends at. So I'm really putting the domain where I want it to exist. And we put this on the same line as the equation. And that's going to restrict it so you only see the part that you want. After you do an equation, click save, because remember it doesn't auto-save. Let's do another one. So I'm going to do an ellipse now for his face shape. So an ellipse is like an oval. So again, you type in the parent function, then click all for the sliders. So now I know my ellipse is going to be centered somewhere between like -5 and +5 along the x-axis. So what I want to do is actually force my H slider, because that's going to be the x value center, to be between -5 and +5. So I'm going to put those two values here. And then the same with K, it's going to be between like 15 and 18 maybe. So I've sped this up. This is just me messing with the sliders to get my ellipse perfect. And then once they're perfect, remember we need to go replace those letters in the original equation. And then after you replace them, you can delete the sliders and click save. Now I'm going to go over this in another video, but if you wanted to add folders as you were going, you click the plus, click folder, and then title it based on the type of relation that you're using. So I'm going to make a quadratics folder and then an ellipse folder. And to put these in the folders, you're going to click and drag it until you see that gray line appear. And then you can close the folder and click save.